Hi friends, it's Candace from Beacon Hill Books. Apologize for the glare and the angle. This is the only time I can videotape. I have a sleeping baby in my lap. So I just wanted to talk about two books I recently finished. One, which is going to be released on May 15th, so coming out very soon, is Jane Seymour, The Haunted Queen. And this is part of the Six Tudor Queens series by Alison, Weir. So all of the queens have a little subtitle. Catherine's was the true queen, Anne Boleyn was a king's obsession, and Jane is the haunted queen, which is quite ironic given the fact that she's the one that had the most success with Henry. So this book is not quite as long, I don't think, as the other two. Given that Jane didn't live as long and she only had a 3-year reign, and she didn't have as much angst or waiting as the others did, so it was nice to read a story where the king wasn't unhappy with the queen as much. I really enjoyed this book. I think Weir has been consistent with the stories. They are told with pretty good detail, but not like dense like a nonfiction book. So you learn a bit, and then you have the author's note at the end where she talks about why she made the story the way that she did, because especially with Jane, there's not a lot of evidence left over. I think there's only like one letter left or something like that. The Haunted Queen part, though, both Dee and I buddy read this with Dee from Books and Quirks. We weren't quite sure what it added to the story. Back then I know people were more, followed actions based on ghosts, or, had a little bit more, read a little bit more into that type of a thing. But there's a little bit of that going on in this book, and then there's the haunted part of Jane kind of feeling that she kind of helped with Anne's demise, so she's haunted in that regard. So I gave this 4 stars. I think it's a great part to the series. If you like Tudors, if you like historical fiction or anything about royalty, I think you'll like this book. The second book I read was the Song of Achilles, which I know is quite popular going on right now because Cersei recently came out. And I did this as part of a read-along with Jess from Jess Reads Things, and then as a buddy read with Sean from On the Stoop, to just kind of hold us more accountable for reading every day. And I don't think that we, although I really, really enjoyed the buddy read because we got into a lot of good details, the story itself, I think, would have held me to reading it because it was very good. After the first quarter, didn't want to put the book down, and it is the story of Achilles, but through the eyes of Patroclus, which Miller makes, Patroclus, she has them being a couple, which I guess is not typical, although more true to the story. I don't know anything else about, this type of mythology, Greek mythology. I have only watched the movie Troy and read Helen of Troy by Margaret George, and it didn't really go into much of that detail. So it has inspired Sean and I to pick up some other books. Of course, Cersei, but that's got a very long wait for me at the library. So we're going to read another book, which I'll talk about soon, a nonfiction book about it. But I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars as well. When I first spoke about it, it was during that quarter, and I had mentioned that the writing was a little basic, and I think that's why some people call it YA. But I think Barter Hordes commented on my video that that might be a nod to Homer and the accessibility of that prose. I'm not sure. So I just find it very easy to read. And although it doesn't follow the story that I knew about Achilles, it was still enjoyable. And I read in the group read notes that in one of the paperback versions there is a interview with Madeline Miller given by Gregory Maguire, the author of Wicked, and she explains why, again, she wrote it the way that she did. I just had caught some excerpts of it when I was at a bookstore, and I had read that it took her 10 years to write, and after 5 years, she basically threw everything out, started brand new again. And she said, yeah, it took a long time, but that was part of the process of this book, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And obviously this book, I mean, it won the Orange Award. I think it's gotten a lot of popularity, and I think it's deserved. I really did enjoy it as a read, so I recommend both of those books. I hope everyone's having a great day. I'll be back hopefully soon. Bye.